Well, hello, Nats fans, and welcome to another edition of the DoDCast Postgame Show. I'm Drew Douglas, and I'll be your host for tonight. And what a disappointing game tonight was. Obviously, there's the great news of Bryce Harper coming back, but other than that, there wasn't a whole lot positive from the night. So the Nationals lost the game 4-1 to the Philadelphia Phillies. Gio Gonzalez struggled a little bit with his command, especially tonight. That ended up costing him. And just the Nationals overall struggled a bit with their command, which definitely they weren't doing themselves any favors. And on the night Bryce Harper returned, the offense really stalled out and ended up not getting a hit after the third inning. So we'll get into the lines a little bit here. Trey Turner, he's the leadoff hitter for tonight. He went 1 for 4, so it's good to see him check it with a hit after his 0 for 5 last night. Bryce Harper returned in the 2-hole and playing right field. He went 0 for 2 with a walk and a strikeout before being removed from the game to just kind of work him back kind of slowly, coming back from the injury. So maybe tomorrow we see him play a little bit more, and FP was saying maybe the day after that he gets like a pinch hitting appearance and a day off. So, yeah, just kind of gradually work him back from the injury and just enough to get him back up to a full strength, or at least as close to it as possible going into the postseason when the games actually matter. Anthony Rendon went 1 for 3 with a double off the top of the wall that ended up being reviewed because Dusty Baker said that he thought it was a homer, but ended up sticking with a double. Still take it as his 41st double of the year. Howie Kendrick went 1 for 3 with a home run. That was the Nationals' only run. He continues to haunt the Phillies, which is his former team, as we see so many guys do to their former teams. And Matt Wieters went 1 for 3, and that was really it from the Nationals' offense. So, yeah, not a whole lot tonight from the Nationals, at least offensively. Getting to the pitching lines a little bit. Like I said, Gio Gonzalez got the start, and he did struggle with his command. He only managed to go 5 innings, allowing 5 hits. He allowed 3 runs, all of them earned on 5 walks and 7 strikeouts. So at the end of the day, he threw 109 pitches and 55 strikes. That's barely over 50% strikes. You never like to see that. And it's kind of what we've seen from Gio in the past, where he just comes out and he's a little bit erratic with his control at times, but he's been better for the most part this season. He still has had a couple games here and there where he is erratic, as we saw tonight, but in the end, he only allowed 3 runs. He kept the Nationals in a position to possibly win the game with a little bit more offense. So it wasn't a terrible night, but you never like to see a big 5 there in the walk column. Joe Blanton came in to relieve him. He pitched the 6th inning. He threw a perfect inning. He's pitched pretty well throughout September. He's making a solid case for himself to make the postseason roster. So he started off slow, but now everything's kind of coming together for Blanton at the right time. Andy Romero came in for the 7th inning. And while he didn't allow a hit, he did allow a run thanks to a leadoff walk. So he's not doing himself any favors with the leadoff walk and giving up the run, because the Nationals have a lot of quality relievers. It's going to be a pretty crowded bullpen out there in the postseason, especially as far as lefties go, with Sean Doolittle, Matt Grace, Andy Romero. Sammy Solis has been pitching really well lately. So it's a lot of lefties to choose from. You obviously can't take them all. And Andy Romero coming out tonight with not great control, giving up a run. He definitely didn't help his case. And Austin Adams, while he's not really in the running for a postseason roster spot, he looked great tonight. He went 1 inning, allowed 1 hit, and struck out the side. He had a great fastball slider combo working, and it was really bamboozling hitters up there with those 2 pitches. It was great to see him. He's one of our favorites here at District on Deck, and just the scouting report on him has always been he's got great strikeout stuff, but he struggles with his control at times. He did have the 1 walk tonight, but then when he was throwing strikes, he was nearly unhittable. So it was great to see him. Great to see him pitch well tonight. We'll check the chat a little bit. Gio Joker said, well, Gio wasn't the only one to have a bad start. His favorite AL pitcher got roughed up. So, yeah, it's good to know that Gio wasn't the only one tonight. And Seth said, this is why clinching early makes games kind of boring. Yeah, I agree. Just obviously, it's not a problem with clinching early, but this is just kind of one of the side effects where you don't get too much action towards the end of the season. But, it's okay. Everyone's hopefully resting up and staying healthy, and everyone will be at 100% going into the postseason. And then Judo said he doesn't trust any in the postseason. And, yeah, he's been pretty good for the most part this year, but the scouting report on him when he came here was he did have he kind of struggled with his control at times. And, we kind of saw that tonight, and we've seen that at times throughout the season. So he is a younger guy. I don't know what he would do with the pressure in the postseason. As Judo pointed out, he said Oliver Perez is a better candidate. And Oliver Perez has been having a good year for the Nationals this year. and he is a veteran. He has pitched in the postseason before, so yeah, maybe they go with Perez. I think Perez is a near lock for that postseason roster, and he's kind of on the fence there. So yeah, I think definitely Perez will be on the roster, and I think maybe we see any, but I'm not as sure as I am of seeing Perez on that postseason roster. So it's definitely good to have decisions. Better to have decisions than not to have decisions for the Nationals, and I'm sure all of those will be tough for Dusty Baker and company. We'll take a look at the Philly box line or Philly stat lines tonight. Cesar Hernandez, he usually kills the Nets. Tonight he went 0 for 5 at leadoff spot, so that was definitely good to see. Freddie Galvis went 1 for 2 with 2 runs scored and 2 walks. So it just kind of comes back to the whole the Nationals were walking a lot of guys and it killed them tonight. As you see, Galvis had 2 walks and managed to score 2 runs on only 1 hit. So you'd never like to see that. Aaron Altherr in the 3-hole, he went 1 for 3 with a run scored and a walk. Rhys Hoskins, he went 0 for 2, but he managed to work a walk and get an RBI on a sac fly. Tommy Joseph went 2 for 4 with a run scored and an RBI. He had a big night. Cameron Rupp went 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs. And Nick Williams, he came in and pinch hit late in the game, and he got a hit. So he has the 3rd highest batting average among National League rookies, and he's really putting together a solid season for them, and he appears to be a building block that the Phillies possibly build around as they continue to rebuild and eventually become competitive again. We'll take a look at their pitchers. Jake Thompson got the start tonight, and he pitched pretty well for the most part. He definitely kept them in the game in a position to win, and he ended up getting the win. His 3rd of the year, he improved to 3-2. He went 5 innings, allowed 4 hits, 1 run. It was earned on 2 walks and 5 strikeouts. And then after that, the Phillies, they brought in 4 relievers, and none of them gave up a hit. Jupiter Ramos came in through a perfect 6th inning with 2 strikeouts. Adam Morgan came in through a perfect 7th inning with 2 strikeouts. Luis Garcia threw a perfect 8th with 2 strikeouts. And Hector Neris threw a perfect 9th with 3 strikeouts. He struck out the side, and he got to save his 25th of the year. So Jake Thompson gave up 4 hits, and that was all the Nationals were able to get. After Anthony Rendon's double in the 3rd inning, they weren't able to get a single hit. So definitely not a game to remember for the Nationals, but it does happen, especially in late September. Back in the chat, Seth said, did the Nats ever say what happened to Sean Kelly? No, they didn't, although he said he doesn't believe it's an issue with his UCL, which is the Tommy John ligament, so that's definitely good to hear. And Judah Joker asked if Grace is a must for the long man. He said the only real option we have unless we use A.J. Cole. And, yeah, I think it definitely comes down to either Grace or Cole. I think Grace is definitely on the roster regardless of his role. But I definitely think A.J. Cole could make the postseason roster, and definitely check back on the site tomorrow. Might have a little something on that. And he said only problem is having a bunch of lefties. And, yeah, I think they do have a logjam of lefties, but the lefties that they have are Sean Doolittle, who's been great against both lefties and righties. Oliver Perez, he's primarily a lefty specialist, but we saw him the other day come in and get a couple of righties out. Matt Grace, he's been able to pitch against lefties and righties. So really, they would have a lot of lefties, but they are guys that can get left-handed batters and right-handed batters out. So I don't think it becomes an issue. And if the Nationals make it past the Cubs and the NLDS and they face the Dodgers, assuming the Dodgers win the first round of or the NLDS as well, then the Dodgers are a team that have typically struggled against lefties. So I think then having a lot of lefties could be definitely beneficial. And Seth makes a great point where he says, looking back on the year, nobody will remember these late September games. And yeah, absolutely. I think maybe people might remember tonight's game just for the fact that Harper came back, and when he got hurt against the Giants back in August, it looked like he was probably going to be out for the year. So I think they will possibly remember that Harper did come back tonight and just how he did. But, yeah, really these games are absolutely meaningless as long as everyone stays healthy, or the guys that are coming back from injuries get healthy and get back into top shape for the postseason. So, Seth, you asked for a trivia question last night, so I went through and found one today. I'll give you that, and then I'll go through the MLB scores and go through the rest, give you guys a little bit of time to think about it. So here it is. On this date in 2008, the Washington Nationals lost to the Philadelphia Phillies 8-4. Like tonight, the game was played at Citizens Bank Park and even featured some players in action tonight. 5 players who appeared in that game for the Phillies went on to join the Nats, including 3 who are currently with the team. Who are those 5 players? So there's 5 players that appeared on September 26, 2008 for the Phillies against the Nationals, and they're all currently they all went on to play for the Nats, including 3 who are currently with the Nationals. So 3 with the Nationals and 2 who played for the Nationals but have since retired. So I'll give you guys a little bit of time to think about that. We'll go through the MLB scores here. We'll go through the divisional games and also games that kind of have some they matter for the postseason or just playoff caliber teams. The New York Yankees tonight, they beat the Tampa Bay Rays 6-1. Jordan Montgomery got the win for the Yankees, improving to 9-7, and Blake Snell got the loss for the Rays, falling to 4-7. Starlin Castro got he hit his 15th homer of the year for the Yankees. In the division, the New York Mets beat the Atlanta Braves 4-3. Jeurys Familia got the win. He improved to 2-2. And A.J. Minter got the loss for Atlanta. He fell to 0-1 with Kevin Plawecki hitting his 3rd homer of the year for the Mets. 2 playoff caliber teams here. The Minnesota Twins are currently beating the Cleveland Indians 7-6 in the 8th. So the Indians, they had that amazing winning streak, and they really continue to win, although the streak is over. So it would be a rare loss for them tonight if this score holds. The Toronto Blue Jays beat the Boston Red Sox 9-4. Jay Happ got the win for Toronto. He improved to 10-11. And Chris Sale got a rare loss for the Red Sox. He fell to 17-8. Josh Donaldson had a 2-homer game, his 32nd and 33rd home runs of the year for Toronto. Teoscar Hernandez hit his 6th homer of the year for Toronto. 6th and 7th homers of the year. He also had a multi-home run game. Kendrys Morales hit his 28th of the year for Toronto, and Sandy Leon, a former National, hit his 7th of the year for Boston. The Milwaukee Brewers are currently beating the Cincinnati Reds 6-5. They're barely hanging in there for the 2nd wild card spot in the National League. I believe they're a game and a half back of the Colorado Rockies coming into tonight. So the Milwaukee Brewers are definitely going to want to try to hold on to that lead. The Houston Astros are currently beating the Texas Rangers 14-1. So they're having a great night offensively. They're one of the better teams in the American League. Looks like they're picking up steam heading into the postseason. The St. Louis Cardinals are currently beating the Chicago Cubs 6-3. The Cubs are most likely who the Nationals are going to be playing in that National League Division Series. So definitely keep an eye on how the Cubs are doing throughout the final week of the regular season. In the division and a playoff caliber team, the Colorado Rockies are currently beating the Miami Marlins 6-0. So like I said earlier, the Milwaukee Brewers are currently winning, and they're right behind the Rockies. So for Rockies fans, I'm sure they're happy that the Rockies are beating the Marlins 6-0. So it is a pretty substantial lead. It looks like they should be able to hold that lead tonight. And the final game that kind of matters for the postseason, the Arizona Diamondbacks are beating the San Francisco Giants 4-0. The D-backs are going to be hosting the National League wildcard game to see who's going to play, most likely the Dodgers. So we'll definitely check that out. Yeah, and back in the chat, check how people are doing with the trivia question. Seth Ross said Joe Blanton, Jason Worth, and Ryan Madsen. Those are the 3 current. And then he said Brad Lidge. Yep, he was the 4th one and one of the 2 that wasn't or that isn't currently on the team. And then there is one more that isn't currently on the team that was on the Phillies and eventually came to the Nationals. To give you a little hint, he pinch hit in that game. He was primarily a pinch hitter with the Nationals, and he's currently the Phillies hitting coach, if that helps you. So we'll give you a little bit of background on what those guys did in that game. Jason Worth, he batted 2nd and went 2 for 5 against the Nationals. Joe Blanton, he's now a reliever, but he actually started that game and went 6 innings, allowing 1 earned run. And Ryan Madsen pitched 2/3 of an inning, striking out 1 batter. And then Brad Lidge, he came in and pitched a perfect 9th inning with 2 strikeouts. And like I said, there is one more player. He came in and pinch hit in that game. He played first base defensively, but he was primarily a pinch hitter with the Nationals. He's from Canada, and he's currently the Phillies hitting coach, if that helps you out a little bit. And in that game, he struck out in a pinch hitting appearance. So, yeah, Seth asked what position did he play. Like I said, he was a first baseman defensively, but he was primarily a pinch hitter when with the Nationals. And he played the final season of his career with the Nationals at age 43. So we'll take a look at what went up on the site today. We had a kind of a collaborative piece about the 2017 turning points for the season. So we all wrote a slide about what we thought was the turning point. Definitely have to go check that out. It kind of brings together the opinions of all of the writers on staff here at District on Deck. And I wrote an article about how Sammy Solis has emerged as a as a second half secret weapon. So he's definitely been great since the All-Star break. He has 9 straight scoreless appearances right now, and surprisingly leads the Nationals in a lot of pitching categories. You'd think it'd be maybe a Scherzer or a Strasburg the way he's throwing, and or maybe even a Sean Doolittle, Ryan Matson, Brandon Kinsler. They've been great, but it's Sammy Solis, so you definitely have to go check that one out. Back in the chat, Joe Joker said, also a fun fact, the broadcast shared a stat when Mo came in with a 4-run lead, so that's Mariano Rivera. At the time, the Yankees had lost only one time in over 200 games in which Mo pitched with a 4-run lead. And, yeah, that's a crazy stat. Mariano Rivera, he's going to go down as arguably the best closer of all time. And also Seth Ross, he got the final player. It was Matt Stairs. So, yeah, it was Matt Stairs and Brad Lidge were the 2 that are not currently with the team. And Jason Worth, Ryan Madsen, and Joe Blanton are the 3 that are currently with the team. I was just kind of looking back at other games that occurred on September 26th throughout Nationals history, and thought it was pretty cool that they not only played the Phillies as the Nationals did tonight, and it was at Citizens Bank Park as well, but there were 5 players that appeared for the Phillies that night that went on to play for the Nationals, including 3 that are currently with them. So thought that was a pretty cool game from 9 years ago. It's pretty cool to see kind of how that game related to what we are currently seeing with the Nationals. So I hope you guys enjoyed that question, and we'll have to see if we continue with those throughout the rest of the regular season. And Jude Joker also pointed out that Sean Doolittle is second in the MLB in saves following the All-Star break. Yeah, he's a perfect 21 for 21 with the Nationals. So he's been great for them, and I'm really glad that he's now with the team, and he'll be with the team for years to come as long as they want him. There's a few team options there at the end of that contract. So, and yeah, Judo also pointed out that he hasn't even been closing the entire second half. So, yeah, it's been pretty unbelievable what he's been able to do, especially with throwing as high as like 96, 97% fastballs. He's just overpowering guys. He's really your typical closer. It's been a lot of fun to watch him pitch. I'm excited to see what he does in the playoffs. So we'll take a look at tomorrow's game. Ron will be with you for that one. That'll be Tanner Roark will be opposed by Mark Leiter. That'll be the rubber match in this series, and the Nationals' final road game in the 2017 regular season. A couple of matchups to keep an eye on. Dubal Herrera has crushed Tanner Roark in the past in 26 career at-bats. He's a career 423 hitter. Tommy Joseph in 15 at-bats. He's a 333 hitter. Cesar Hernandez, 25 at-bats, 280. Freddie Galvis in 22 at-bats, 273. So, yeah, there's a lot of guys that hit him well, but there's also guys that don't. Cameron Rupp in 17 at-bats. He's a 176 hitter. And Michael Franco in 22 at-bats. He's a 227 hitter. So, Roark kind of struggled a little bit in the first half, but he's been pretty good as of late. So we'll see how he does tomorrow and what will possibly be his final start going into the postseason. And Mark Leiter, he's only faced the Nats one time, so there's not a whole lot of data on the Nationals against Leiter. But Howie Kendrick did go 2 for 3 against him last time. Daniel Murphy went 2 for 4. Anthony Rendon went 1 for 2. Michael Taylor went 2 for 4. So they have seen him before. Hopefully they'll be able to hit him a little bit better this time around, because if I remember correctly, they struggled a little bit last time, which is understandable as the first time seeing him. So hopefully now they've seen him, they hit him a little better tomorrow. And Seth Ross said he remembered that game. He probably watched and was Adam Dunn on the team. And yeah, I think Adam Dunn was a few years after that, but yeah, Adam Dunn, he was definitely in that era, and he was a lot of fun to watch. Just putting balls. He was kind of a 3 true outcome hitter: home run, strikeout, or a walk. And if you ever go to Nationals Park, you go up in that third deck over near the right field foul pole. They put in red seats wherever a Nationals player hit a home run there, and a few of those are Adam Dunn. So it's definitely pretty cool to see the balls that he hit up there. So that about covers it for tonight's game. We'd appreciate if you give this video a like and subscribe to us on YouTube. If you'd follow us on Twitter, you can follow us at District on Deck, or if you want to follow my personal account, you can follow me at DrewRD98. And if you would give us a like on Facebook, we put all these post-game videos and other special videos. Have a couple coming up soon, possibly, and as well as all of our articles that go up on the site on our Facebook. So it's definitely a good place to go check out everything that we kind of do here at District on Deck. We'd really appreciate it if you give us a like on there. So yeah, it's just a rough game all all together tonight from the Nationals losing the game 4-1 to the Philadelphia Phillies, who are one of the worst teams in the league. But it definitely happens over the course of a 162-game season, especially now that the Nationals have clinched and all the regulars are just trying to stay healthy. It was definitely good to see Bryce Harper come back tonight. While he didn't get a hit, he hit a few balls hard, and it was just definitely great to see him back in the lineup. And Seth said that Adam Dunn was on the team. He just looked back. Yeah, thank you for confirming that. So, like I said, Ron will be with you tomorrow in that rubber match in the final road game of the 2017 regular season for the Nationals. And the next time they're on the road, they're most likely going to be in Chicago out at Wrigley Field, and that'll be an electric atmosphere, I'm sure, with the Cubs as defending national champions and in the postseason. And it's really what they've been playing for all year. So I'm looking forward to the next postseason or the next road game after tomorrow for sure. It's definitely on everyone's mind. So thank you for watching tonight, and from everyone at District on Deck, I'm Drew Douglas, and have a great night, everybody.